mentioned, the agreement that you have is 3 or 4 pages long. Ours is 1 page and requires the signature of the agency head. All right? And that gives them involvement, gives them a vote in it. The things that we do, we look at policy best practices. We put together training modules that are multidisciplinary. We do not have a training module for fire and one for police and one for coroner and one for NDOT. Our training modules are intended for multidiscipline. All right? We ask for some legislative action. We have a hold harmless law in Indiana now. Abandoned vehicle law, we made some changes. Prior to this change, we had to leave an abandoned vehicle sitting on the side of the road for 72 hours. Why? And when you're looking at traffic incident management, it doesn't make sense. And then we have a move it law that says that if you have a property damage crash, you are required by law to move that vehicle from the roadway and take it someplace where it's not causing traffic problems. What has always been our philosophy, especially from the insurance companies, will say, that's right, don't you move that thing until the police gets there. Now our state law says you have a responsibility to move it out of the traffic lanes. We also have a move over law, which is moving over for emergency vehicles, which in the state of Indiana includes all of us in this room, to include NDOT, who's your helpers, utility crews that are out working along the interstate. Those are in our definition of emergency vehicles. Until this last year, we had monthly meetings. I was the chair for the 3.5 years that I was there. We sat around the table. We talked about traffic incident management issues every month. Our meetings started at 9 o'clock. They ended by 10:30. I always tell people, I'm kind of ate up with time. If you come in at 9:05, you have missed 5 minutes of our meeting. Be here on time. We also talked about this being multidisciplinary. In our in-time meeting was not a place for you to wear your feelings on your shoulders. Because if a fire department has a problem with me, they have to be able to bring that to the table here so that we can discuss it and find a resolution to it. If I have a problem with a tow service, you have to be able to bring it here so that we can get that stuff squared around. So I'm kind of shy and timid and backwards. You understand that already. So if you don't want to play with us, that's fine, but go outside. Don't give us the issues in here. We have to find some solutions. All right, so the purpose of our in-time meeting is to have traffic incident responders from all disciplines follow agreed upon multilateral policies and procedures while being focused on the open roads philosophy, which is having first responders, after ensuring their own personal safety and the safety and security of any incident victims, to have their top priority reducing congestion and the higher risk of secondary incidents for the public. Now, there are 3 things we have to do here. The number one we do pretty well, and that is making sure that we are safe. That has to be our number one priority. We don't take care of ourselves, nobody takes care of us. We have to make sure that that's taken care of. We do a good job of that. Number 2 is the incident victims. And we do a pretty good job at that. That is our job to be there. But the people that we have forgot about, number 3, are the people that are either sitting in the queue, working their way through that queue, are now being involved in secondary crashes. We don't think about that. Now, how many times have you thought about, don't raise your hands, how many times have you thought about, I don't care if they sit in their car all day. We're going to do what we need to do here. We'll clear it when we get clear. We've all said that. I've said that. But we need to think about those folks because now those folks are being killed and injured because of the way that we act or don't react at the scene. What we want in Indiana is for everybody to play together in the sandbox again. We learned how to not play well in the sandbox at an early age, did we not? Now we just get a little more sophisticated because we're older and we're better at it. Our hold harmless law, 9-22-1-32, says that the following are not liable for loss or damage. Back in the old days, if I had a semi-tractor trailer that was rolled over in the middle of US 30, a 4-lane divided highway, he's blocking both of my westbound lanes, I would say to Mr. Bucket, grab onto that and haul it off to the side of the road so I can get a lane open. Then we stopped doing it. Why? insurance companies. You don't want to do that anymore. Well, now we're back in that mode. Guys, we have to clear those lanes safely, responsibly. So we asked for this hold harmless law. When we took it to the legislature, they put more teeth in it than we actually asked for. And they gave it to us the very first year we asked for it. So it was important to them as well. A secondary incident is an incident that occurs as a direct or indirect result of a previous incident. So I have people sitting in the queue. I have a vehicle stopped on the side of the road and I'm simply writing a speeding ticket. Does that cause problems with the traffic management in that area? It should, at least. Okay? They should be slowing down, moving over. So we have kind of caused our own traffic incident management. If somebody has a crash back in that queue, that is now a secondary crash, right? Because it's a direct or indirect result of a previous incident, whatever that incident might be. This is a secondary crash way up here, almost a mile up. There was a semi that ran off the side of the road. The driver had a medical problem. Okay? So he ran off the road, and the wrecker driver was up here pulling that vehicle out now. So we have traffic backed up, and excuse me, this green container was the last vehicle in line. And these small cars were in between there on the other side. This vehicle right here is the one that came up, no skid marks, no nothing, hit the back of the container. Ironically, he was the one that was killed. Normally it's the people in these low cars, but he was killed in this crash. Secondary crash. A lot of things that we can learn from this. Now, I want you to understand right off the bat, I am not here to pick on anybody in particular. I'm here to pick on all of us, because we all have some things to learn. What do we have at the scene? Right here. Fire trucks, over here. Fire trucks, ambulance. What's that? Helicopter. Okay? We have everything closed. Now, I understand the helicopter's there, and we're going to stop both lanes of traffic anyway when the helicopter's there. They want to be there, at least in Indiana, they want to be there for no longer than how much? No longer than 10 minutes. After their 10 minutes, what are they going to do? Shut down. Not on my highway. Okay? That's why we talk about things ahead of time. And I'm going to show you some things that we talked about with our Medivac folks so that we are all on the same page when we come together. So, some things to learn on from this scene. If this helicopter leaves right now, what kind of problems do we have with traffic? We're still blocking everything, aren't we? So why aren't we doing some preliminary work to get some of these vehicles off this side now? This is going to be closed for a while. It's going to happen. You deal with what you have. Like Captain always said, it is what it is. So if you have to have it closed, you have to have it closed. But let's get these other lanes open. Safety impact. Crashes that result from other incidents, secondary, are estimated to be 20% of all crashes. Secondary crashes. And these secondary crashes increase by 2.8% for each minute that the primary incidents is not cleared. And they're estimated by NHTSA to cause 18% of the deaths on highways. So in Indiana, we believe if we can cut down on some of these secondary crashes, we can cut down on some of the fatal injuries and the serious injuries. So I had one of my sergeants go through our area system, which is our crash information system for the state of Indiana, and 21% of Indiana's crashes showed that the vehicles were slowed or stopped in traffic. Well, on our crash report, it simply has a spot that says, what was the vehicle doing prior to the crash? All right? And they were slowed or stopped in traffic. That's the only criteria we use. And still, 21% of our crashes are there. So this caused the Indiana State Police to put together what we call a secondary crash policy. I'm not going to read this to you, but I'll tell you what it means. If we have more than one trooper that responds to a crash, and on the initial windshield view, we see that it's going to be a while, a marked car has to go to the back of the queue and stay somewhere between 200 and 3 yards distance behind the last traffic. On the side, red lights on. What do red blue lights normally do? Slow down. We all know, though, how long does this slow down? Until they get past it, that's right. And then it's right going again. Our intent